Well, we'll start with Rugby Europe, the Rugby
yes,
Europe
that's right.
Championship. Round 1 took place, and no teams as of yet disqualified. Everybody's
good
in
to
the
know.
mix.
Well,
Six
unless there have been
teams.
some ineligible players out
Yeah,
there.
6
out and about.
teams still going
Yeah.
as of now, still batting.
Sure. Yeah.
The one we'd start with was Romania, Georgia.
Yeah.
I watched the full game. It was on in advance of the Ireland game,
Mm-hmm.
streaming on their website. You
Mhm.
have to go and look for it to find it, but it's probably worth doing. Free rugby and interesting pictures being presented.
For sure.
I thought this was a really curious game. In the first half, Romania were doing a job on Georgia, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
That scrum half of theirs is so key to what they do. It's Lobzanidze or
Lobzanidze,
yeah,
yeah.
I think it's Lobzanidze is how you pronounce it. But he
Yeah.
was targeted big time, and
Right.
they were roughing him up. Every
Right.
breakdown, they were doing some illegal things, but Georgia liked their slow ball, and Romania's just throwing hands in there. After the play, a few times he was the guy getting rattled.
Yeah.
He was getting properly roughed up, and then they had made the scrums a mess as well. It was an Irish reffing, and he was struggling to cope with it. The scrums were just going down. There was never quite that. You saw a little bit in this as the game went on, but for the most part, there was just collapsed scrums and some free kicks going against Georgia, and then a penalty going against Georgia. And it was just, they created a frustrating picture for Georgia in that first half.
Sure.
They couldn't get settled.
Mm-hmm.
And it was 6-3 to Romania at half time. The crowd were getting into it. It was
Probably not enough points for all that.
no,
for
indeed,
Romania,
and as it happens, it was Lobzanidze himself who really turned it on in the second
There you
half
go,
and approached. He made a great. He started playing with a bit more speed. He made a great line break that led, I think, to the first try. He was just sprinted down the field. So I think it was off a kick.
Mm-hmm.
He just ran and broke through, and then they ended up getting a penalty try off the ensuing couple of plays.
Right.
And Quickfire got another try. Gorgodze, not Toulon's Gorgodze, our new scrum cap friend Gorgodze. From number 8, was put into space by a bit of lovely play from side to
No,
side.
he finished it very well. Little
Trampled a
show and
couple
go.
of Romanians, and
A little
away he went.
mauling over the top of the last
Yeah.
defender, which is nice to see for
I-
a guy named Gorgodze.
I was amused to watch the highlights of it because I was watching it live with the Romanian coverage,
Right.
and I gotta say, like, I don't speak a word of Romanian, but there was some serious, grumbling going on, some partisan grumbling as the second half was going on.
partisanship
As
through
that
the
went
screen.
in, it was like Gorgodze, but it sounded like they were musing about double movements or whatever in Romanian. And then I watched the highlights that Georgia posted with the Georgian commentary, and it was like Gorgodze, just jumping
There's
up and
some
down and
difference
going
to it.
crazy.
This is what
Um,
I'm gonna give our usual shout out to Justin Marshall for just how good he is at that,
Yes.
as being not partisan and
Yeah,
just watching the
game.
rugby
Yeah,
unfold and calling it as it is, which sometimes a try scored against your team is just a good try.
Yes.
And that was
Every
definitely
so often.
a good try, and it's something
Yeah.
that it really vexes me about watching Irish coverage of any Irish game as well, because it just does annoy me that every try against us is who missed that tackle is the first call, instead of getting a bit of colour into the commentary, but yeah, no,
after the tries came in, it was just Romania to kick one to get back into it, and then and then Georgia got another penalty towards the end to push them away. But in terms of tests for Georgia, it's another curious one. I mean, Romania are a team very similar in mindset to Georgia, and they're just inferior, so they actually can do less with the ball than Georgia can. But it's from Georgia's perspective,
still we did a lot with the ball there, but are we going to be able to do that when the proper tests come?
It's like the Italy point. It's like the Georgia are in that exasperating position of imagine if Ireland only got to play Italy between now and the World Cup, and every week we were hammering them in new creative ways, and it was like, but what's going to happen when we don't have to play Italy? And
that's true.
That's a disadvantage that Georgia have for sure. It's a welcome reminder for them that their pack aren't infallible, though, that they can be roughed up, and they need to sharpen up at the scrum time and at their pack. That's what their
and
strength
also
is.
just probably add more strings to their bow as far as just how to utilise that ball. Don't be satisfied with grinding out 18 points against Romania. That's not many points to be scoring against a team that are over Romania. You probably need to be scoring a bit more if you're going to be beating it's Australia and
Fiji
in their group,
and Wales.
and Wales. tough games, one and all, very different games, one and all. They're going to need to score some points to win any of them.
Yeah.
And
they did manage to drag a game in Cardiff to a standstill.
They did,
nearly won it.
And nearly won it. Yeah. And there was an argument that they probably should have won it as well. If we're being brutally honest, that was probably Mr. P try.
They're still burly men, like they will be a challenge.
They'll
be a handful for any pack to deal with.
It's true. Yeah.
But in terms of going forward in this tournament, they look good now for another, REC slam, I guess.
Yes,
they're playing Spain at home this week, and that'll be
a tough game.
Yeah, in Tbilisi, I think.
Yeah, they should have it anyway. But it's like Spain are looking a bit more competent year on year. Like it was. I suppose we can possibly swivel on to them. They managed to edge out Russia 16-14 in what was a good, well fought game. But a few little things, like curious to see a very effective Spanish maul try working, where I wouldn't have normally associated Spain with that kind of in tight detail work, but it was well set up and they got there.
It's one of those simple things that any tier two coach worth his salt would be. Like if you're going to get one thing right, we're going to be able to score from 5 meters out with a maul.
Yeah,
like we're going to just be organised.
So often
we're going to do that.
Any game.
That's going to be one thing that we can do.
Yeah.
And good on them. It was very good.
They executed it well. Yeah.
Perfect, pretty much.
Yeah, and then Russia got back into it with quite a mauling try where they just seemed to win contact after contact, and it was just pick and jams for the most part. And then one little dummy from the scrum half and then go, but it was all just like smush. And they are a big team, Russia, by the looks of it. They're physically quite big.
They're gonna be,
come World Cup time, they'll be organised. They'll be dangerous.
Physically prepared is one way to put it. They'll be
one way. Yeah.
Yeah, they'll be big, strong, and up for the fight when the World Cup comes around. Now, whether that's going to be enough for them to actually compete with the proper rugby team will be
maybe not.
Remain to be
Might
seen.
be enough to scare Japan.
Yeah,
in game one, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't see it, to be honest with you.
Russia.
Japan have so many more miles in the clock in terms of rugby is concerned.
It's true. Yeah. All evidence thus far points to the idea that it's Japan.
Improved though from Russia on last year for sure. More competitive. I mean, that towards the end of that game, obviously Spain kicked their way back into it, and you shout out that outside centre.
They're the 13 lefty for 13 taking all their kicks. Who was that?
Yeah, that was Andrea Rabago. Yeah.
Good boot on him.
He did, and he won them the game ultimately.
Yeah. And also Russia missed a sitter in the second half to take the lead. Or it was in the first half actually to take the lead from 7-7. They just missed a kick from the point.
I thought you were talking about the butchered try.
That I was going to get onto that as well, because that was such a horrendous play. Oh my goodness!
He was through. He was there, and he had the ball in his left hand. I don't know what he was holding the ball, but it went very badly for him. Yes. They dropped the ball as they were
fell out of his hands. He just forgot to hold the ball.
They spent the whole last 10 minutes knocking at the door, 2 points down, and Spain, to their credit, got a couple of key steals, and Russia never sort of had the nous to settle down, even kick a drop goal.
Right. Yeah.
So it was ultimately a bit of a nervy one for Spain, but they got it done, and they got it done in the last play. I was about on the halfway line. They got a steal, and that's always a good way to win a game.
Yeah.
Someone's attacking you and you get that poach, and happy days.
The whole team can get bullish off that.
Yeah.
Fair play to Spain and Georgia kicking ahead, getting started with a win. But also, shout out to Belgium for getting it done against the Germans. And Belgium were another team who looked thoroughly abject last year. They
did beat Germany. Germany were the most abject team, I think. It's a decent win. I didn't watch the game.
No, I didn't see most of it.
There's not much World Cup intrigue, unfortunately.
No, unfortunately not. Neither of these teams will feature. But as far as that tournament is concerned, it's good to have it underway. And
it's in these off weeks now, because there's an off week in the Six Nations. But that Georgia Spain game is going to be going on,
which is
definitely worth a gander.
One. I quite like watching the way Georgia play the game. To be honest, they're a different look to most teams, and certainly in the context of the World Cup, they'll be bringing something different, because they just play it at a very different but very deliberate pace that is just very unique. They seem to fly in the face of the common consensus of quick ruck ball. They don't seem to need it.
No, Ireland do something similar in that regard. They get quick ruck ball and then they slow it all down. But what Georgia need is to be able to slow the pace when they don't have the ball.
Yeah.
Against teams who are moving it quickly, because that's like when Fiji are coming at you, that's what you need. You need to be able to form rucks and get your jacklers in there and hold guys up, trap arms.
Something that Wales are very good at, in fact, in some of their iterations with some of their back row setups. They're good at just spoiling other teams' ball. Yeah, they still have a lot to go, and you're right in saying it's not ideal, this tournament as a test for them, or as a growing tool, because it just takes too long before any of what they've established as winning ways get tested in the proper environment to see if they actually are winning ways, or if you have to rip up the playbook again.
It's so key, and it's crushing, because I think they're right there, and in terms of their support of the game, like
they get good crowds into Tbilisi for these games.
They had fans in the Romania stadium, and they do get great crowds in Tbilisi, but they had fans travelling to Romania from Georgia, which is actually a very long trip. Not like it's all east from here, but it's like it's a very long trip to fly from Georgia to Romania, and they just do it. They can follow that team anywhere. They'll be there in Japan, no doubt, for the Lelos, and it's just a shame that they're not getting routine game time at the top level, because it's definitely something that's preventing them from taking that next step.
For sure.
It's a hard one.
It is, but in the meantime, you can watch their games, because they are interesting to watch. And and Spain are kind of, well, they're both 1-1 now, so this is kind of near tournament decider level already.
Yes, I would say so. I would say that last week in Romania was probably the most likely slip up for Georgia, and now it's very unlikely.
Much more plain sailing to look to.
From Romania's perspective, though, just before we move on, I would just say that there should be, like, last week we were sort of writing their obituary. They had that terrible Timisoara team. They've had such hideous results in the last year. It's got to be deflating for them, and to go in and have a plan to derail Georgia and to execute it really well in the first half, like, that's got to be a source of some confidence
for sure.
And they should be
stuff to be
hungry
building on that
ahead of the games against Spain and Russia. They should be hungry
and try and get some scalps, earn some scalps. For sure. But we'll pivot on.
Thanks for watching the Overlap Rugby podcast. If you enjoyed that video, please like down below and subscribe for more videos. And please enter the comments section to join our conversation. Thanks.